Greetings, Taekwondo family. Welcome to Miami Minutes, the show that shows no mercy. Much like our lovely heroes, you know. You might think they have mercy. No, they don't, baby. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And coming to you from my website, www.niallmcgowan.com, it's me, Niall McGowan.
I am actually very happy you said the proper name. Because I get it, right? Not everyone was a nerd like me growing up. Too many people just say slash. And it's like, no, it's not a slash. it's very much a backslash.
I wasn't getting into it for that reason, though, John. It's a very specific reference.
I know, but I just like that you went the right route with it. You didn't just say slash. You're like, okay, it works on multiple levels.
So you now have to reveal to the audience that you've cut out every instance of me saying slash. Making the same joke with any slash happens, but you're leaving in this one time a back gets slashed. So.
Yeah, they don't realize it's actually your catchphrase, you know, but I've just been editing it out every time you say it.
Also, should say to people, don't look up that web address because it does not exist. I made it up just this moment for the purposes of that joke.
So, I mean, much like the joke in Star Wars Minute, we now have to buy it, right?
Yeah. You're the one who's editing, John, so I think it falls onto you now to spend $40 or whatever it is to buy a web domain these days. But
I already buy the Miami one, and it's like we don't really need it. It just helps you appear in the Google algorithms. You know?
So I think my vision for what this show will inevitably become is that in about 20 years' time, the Alamo Draft House is going to discover the podcast.
Yeah.
And then we'll get phone calls going, you guys, why don't we play, if we host your old web series, Miami Minutes? And we'll be like, get out of here. Just like hang up the phone with them constantly.
No, I think it's coming. It's coming, you know. I genuinely think we need to try the cast again. Because we only tried like 2 of them.
Yeah, but the time to head to the mattresses, to go out knocking on the boots on the sidewalk or the pavement, you know, as it were.
This minute. Minute 76. And it starts with screaming from the depths of one's soul. And it ends with a bloodbath to make Blade fans happy.
Are you talking about fans of Blades in general, or specifically the film franchise Blade, or even the Marvel character Blade in his outer universe as well?
I am talking about rollerbladers. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about, and like. That old video game on the Mega Drive where I think they would say, let's blade.
well, let's pour one out for the late Melanie Safka, who, of course, did the song Brand New Key, which is the one that, I got a brand new pair of rollers. But she just died there just the other week. So there you go. Let's roller skates. Now we're going way off track. Now, I always do that with that song. I always say blades. But back in the 60s, you wouldn't have had... They weren't cool enough back then for roller blades. It was roller skates.
No.
So, I messed up my own cultural reference there. But, oh well.
I don't know if it's the same worldwide, but in England at least... rollerblades weren't like cool until the 90s.
No. Well, I think back in the 60s, roller skates would have done you just fine. And then I think it might have been. I don't know when rollerblades became a thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if it were like a marketing thing in the 90s of like, we need to make these. It's the same exact thing, but we need to make them cool. We call them like Xer skates or like rada rolls or something like that. And then they're like, get this, roller blades.
Like, whoa, that sounds radical.
But like, are any blades involved? It doesn't matter. They're just skates. But like, no, but skates, blades. But they don't have any blades. That doesn't matter, I tell you.
But it makes it sound extreme to the max.
I was just trying to think of like, there's definitely something where somebody like uses lethal rollers, like proper hockey skates in a kind of like like a kind of silent assassin going around and then could like slit your throat with like. I can imagine some sort of henchman, like a silent female henchman, coming up and then just like doing a twirl and like slicing somebody's head off with an ice skate.
I'm trying to think. I mean, in the Japanese movie Ichi the Killer, he's got a blade in his boot, but it's not. It pops out when he needs to slice people in half.
Yeah.
And I did once see, and I didn't mind seeing this because the guy was okay, but it was on like one of those shows of like, the worst accidents. And it was a hockey player, ice hockey, and the other guy fell over and his foot went into the air and sliced the opponent's neck open.
Oof.
And he's bleeding all over the fucking... And it looks worse on ice, obviously.
Yeah.
and it's like, it sliced his whole neck quite wide open. It's really brutal. But he was okay. So I was like, oh, thank God. Because if I found out he was dead, I was like, why the fuck have you shown me that?
It feels like that should be a thing like in a Bond movie, though. Just like James Bond out like skating and then some... Yeah, like an Ivana Humpalot comes along and does that kind of...
I want to skate a lot.
It seems like it's got to be like a thing that's been... It's got to be a thing that's been tapped, but like the only... Like and now I keep getting mixed up between now I'm talking about ice skates, we were on roller blades, and then the only thing I can think of that's actually a scene involving violence with roller skates is in Boogie Nights when Heather Graham's character Roller Girl, who's called that because she's always wearing roller skates, and like kicks a guy's whole face in with her roller skates because like he tried to feel her up in the back. They're filming a porn and he tried to feel her up a bit too much, and then the guys pull him out and she starts going around him in circles and then just like loses herself a little bit and starts like probably smashing his head, kicking his face in and stuff. It's a very intense scene. Like it was a great movie though. Boogie Nights. Potentially still Paul Thomas Anderson's best, and I was like way back when he started. So, yeah.
Believe it or not, never seen it. You'd think I probably would have listeners, but no.
Well, that's great. There's still plenty of time, although it is very long. But like, still plenty of time to watch it. But anyway, there's plenty of blade-based violence in this, but neither of the roller variety or the skate variety. And nothing really happening with people's feet per se, but
okay, Quentin.
I mean, it feels like that would be a thing he would do. He'd be like, yeah, then she goes over and she like does a pirouette and like slices somebody's head off, and then she like takes the roller blade off, and it's a whole bit. And then people will be like, are you talking about ice skates or roller blades or roller skates specifically in this scene? Because roller skates and roller blades are the same thing, and they don't have blades in them.
Tarantino would just have someone's got really long toenails. Maybe he's into that. Maybe that's a thing. I don't know. Are people into long toenails? Listeners, if you're into them, let me know.
Go into the internet and asking if people are into a thing. Someone's into everything. Like there's somebody out there with like no matter what. Remember we used to have like back in the day. You would get like the Guinness Book of World Records people for like growing out the longest nails, and I remember like having an edition of it, and it didn't look human in the hand. Like,
is this that Indian guy and they were like curling all around?
Yeah. But it looked as if like his hands had turned into like tentacles almost. Like it was like whatever was happening there. But I can guarantee you, someone out there saw those pictures and was like, I gotta say, it's doing it for me. Like, I don't know why that would be doing it for you. Maybe you're imagining the nails coming to life and like creeping the way around you.
Yeah, maybe. Would they be good for scratching it? We're getting a bit off topic.
They didn't look like they're very stiff. They looked like they were kind of like losing their sort of integrity a little bit because they were curling up and stuff. It was as if like their actual physical matter was morphing in some way. The one guy ever kept going. Like I say, he might be dead now, but then he
must be.
It used to be the old urban legend was that like your fingernails grow after you die, which of course is not true. Apparently, it's actually down to the fact that your skin retracts and it makes it look as if your fingernails have grown a bit.
Same with hair, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. There's one of the things I retained from the first season of 6 Feet Under was that little tidbit there. Although that's a TV show, that could be lying to me. I never went and checked that, but No. Hey,
you've been wrong all these years.
We better get around to actually talking about this minute of Miami Connection, I guess.
Yes, this is minute 70. Oh, I've said that already. We are back as John. He screams from his heart, his soul. He cannot cope with what's happening.
He's doing he look almost as he's morphed into someone else, like, because we never see this emotion from him at any other point in the film. And if you actually showed me this still out of context and said, "Who's that?" I don't know if I would go, "That's John from Miami Connection." Like, it would have been.
I'd be like, "It's Bruce Campbell" or something.
I was going to say it's almost, and I think there's a little bit of prejudice here, but looking at the teeth, I would be like, "Is it Prince Charles?" Like, sorry, King Charles nowadays. 34 years of calling him Prince Charles. I can't get used to calling him King Charles now. Like, it's
no. It's weird. It's weird. I don't like it. It's not on.
It's always weird that now, like, in the modern world, where people will come in and ask you to, like, literally go, like, "Oh yes, I've changed my entire identity and sexuality and stuff. Refer to me this way," and I'll be like, "Great, yeah, fine, yeah, I'll do that." And then
just not with royalty.
Yeah, and then the monarchy comes in. They're like, "Yeah, this guy's king now." I was like, "Well, Prince Charles, you mean?" Like, oh, I'm not changing to that. It's like,
it's only okay to dead name Twitter and the monarchy.
Yeah. I just call him Charles, Charlie boy. But
Charlie. Oh no, this facial expression, it's that's some good acting right there. As you say, like, we've not seen him emote like this in any way, shape, or form. I mean, he's had no cause to, because he hasn't had a good friend sliced into ribbons. But anything approaching this.
Yeah. I would say though, like, because not to skip too far ahead in the minute, but like, he really, like, has no qualms about, like, getting stuff done after this now. Like, it's you wonder. I mean, it occurs like I'm here like 10 seconds later, I guess, but like, because then a ninja confronts him in the what am I gonna call it? Like, it's not a river, it's not a lake, stream, because it's a stream.
A stream. Yeah, I like that.
And they get down to a little bit of, like, slightly awkward, but also kind of just more realistic sword fighting. Because I guess, like, we're used to seeing sword fights that are so heavily choreographed that you're just like, yeah, I guess that's what a sword fight looks like. And this might be more close to, like, if two guys came at each other with giant samurai blades, they probably would just be, like, swinging and then get a little dink, dink.
No, I agree. I think I might have said this last minute as well, but I find this quite realistic fighting. It's not finesse. It's not choreography. I know it's choreographed, but you know what I mean. It's not the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, it's the Return of the Jedi. It's that that fight at the end. Perhaps I can turn her instead. Never. And that's
my favorite film scene of all time.
Yeah, it's still, people never bring it up, but still, like, that's the best lightsaber fight. Just Luke laying in the Vader. Like, that's the one. The stakes have never been higher in that scene. You're like, yeah, this is pretty intense, and it doesn't matter whether it's well choreographed or not, because you're just like, you're watching what's happening, But
it's the emotion, it's the power, and that's the same thing here. Like, I did say prior that it's a more realistic sort of fight. It's how people with katanas would sort of fight. You don't clink them together that much. It's not like and flipping around.
Yeah.
But even beyond that, it's more about his anger.
Yeah.
And his sadness.
It's don't let the teeth distract you too much, though they are quite overwhelming in the scene. I mean,
yeah. But again, I like that, because in this day and age, we're so used to seeing these fucking Hollywood teeth that just, I mean, I'm allowed to say this in English, they disgust me. I hate it. I want to see real teeth on real people, and that's what you're getting here. He's a real guy.
I think I might have mentioned this way, way, way back at the start of the whole show. I have a feeling it might have been in reference to Vincent Hirsch, but, like, I noticed that he's got the same. I don't have them anymore, because I guess maybe I just started eating better or whatever, but, like, he's got the white spots on the teeth.
Oh, I have those a bit, yeah.
Yeah, I believe they're called, like, enamel hypoplasia or something like that. They're like,
fancy.
Yeah, but I as I was told as a kid, it's calcium deficiency, basically. It's from, like, if your diet's not great, you're not getting enough vitamins and stuff, you can have, like, beige teeth. Not, I'm not gonna go out and say, you have, your horrible yellow teeth. But then you'll notice that, parts of it are like properly like bleach white. Yeah. And you're like, what the hell's that? Like, have I been doing some very selective brushing of my teeth over here? What was it? But no. And you never see it in movies. Like, it's just a thing that they're like, oh no, we get rid of that. Like, I think maybe the only other time I can ever remember seeing it was in like Face Off. I'm pretty sure John Travolta had it. Because I remember being a kid watching it and being like, oh, he's got the same thing I do. And I'm sure since then, Travolta's had those teeth knocked out and replaced by, like, impenetrable, impervious to all food and staining, like, enamel nightmares up there somewhere. Although,
exactly.
Would Scientology permit that? I don't know. They don't allow you to take medicine. So, like, they don't allow you to go to therapy. What is the Scientologist opinion on dentistry? I don't know.
I bet they like it because they're all about appearance. They're all about facade, and that's part of that.
Yeah, no, see, they always do seem to have very white teeth as well. So maybe that's the only form of medicine we allow is, of course, dentistry. So, like, if you just want to be if you want to go to see a doctor for the sake of it, please go to your dentist. And,
yeah, because it makes them look better in their mind. I bet you they like it. Garrett, they probably pay for it.
Might be like something to do with Tom Cruise's weird middle tooth as well. As the classic.
Well, that freaks me out genuinely. Yeah,
but it might be he's like, no, I can't. Like, I have to go see my dentist. I got to deal with this thing, and they're like, okay, no, Tom wants to deal with it. Oh, no, wait, there's some more space dust on L. Ron Hubbard's thing. He said here. Oh, look, he says you can go to the dentist. It's fine. But anyhow.
Yeah, I mean, so sword fighting, Not only that, I think it also, something I appreciate, it feels like an actual struggle. Like a fight, so to speak. Like, you feel his sadness, so he can't even control himself properly. He can't fight properly, necessarily. Like, this isn't his best combat.
No. I wonder if Mark were to observe this, and he had pointers afterwards, what would he be like? It was like, well, you're just not supposed to...
You're not supposed to kill someone.
But like, as we've covered, with Mark in particular, it's like... mere seconds from now, you're going to be killing people too, man.
Yeah, but he's allowed. He's in charge.
Yeah, I guess it is just like I've earned the right to kill a few people. Like, that's my prerogative. Okay, once you've been through what I've been through, then you get the kill card. But he does it so readily, John, in this scene. Like, he kicks the guy down. He's in the water. That's a little clever thing, though, I noticed they did here, because I guess they have to, like, right, if you get the guy underwater, and then you can just stab in without having to worry about, like, any, like, padding, or how are we going to make this trick shot? And I guess the trick is like, the guy's underwater, you don't have to see him. So
yeah, you don't even have to really show any blood.
No. Which is quite shocking, though, because they do show a lot of blood elsewhere in the film, but they're like, no, it was... but I love the fact he goes in full tilt, both hands on the handle, and then he does like a twist as well to make sure.
That's the thing, as you say, it's like no hesitation. He just stabs the living shit out of him.
Yeah. Like in Face Off, when John Travolta tells, well, I guess it's Castor Troy telling Sean Archer's daughter while he's pretending to be Sean Archer.
Jesus Christ, I've seen the movie 50 times and I'm lost.
But when Travolta is posing as Travolta, he's telling John Travolta's kid, Nicolas Cage is in John Travolta's body at this point, and he's saying to Travolta's daughter, "You're gonna go out with this guy. He's played by Johnny Masterson, so you should know there's gonna be some trouble." And here's a switchblade, and he has this really cool carved switchblade, and he's just like, "Yep." Stick it in the side of his leg, twist it. And he makes a big point of saying to twist it and stuff. So I guess this is like a practice thing. If you know what you're doing with a blade, apparently the twisting is a very effective, more damaging method of doing things.
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't think this type of sword is really designed for that. But I'm not an expert, so... I think the last time I really talked about blades in depth it must have been like well over a year ago on this show.
Yeah.
And I seem to recall mentioning you're not really meant to do stuff like that, but it's a movie. It's a movie.
Well, might I posit some headcanon then? Because John does get into this very readily. We see all the bubbled up rage in him. Rage we have not seen elsewhere in the film. But it's coming from somewhere, deep inside. And not just from, obviously, the emotional trauma of seeing, Jim be taken down. But perhaps, and saying this little, his fighting style's a bit sloppy, is a bit rough. And then to do a little thing like stab someone and then you twist it, a la what you would do with a switchblade. As per John Travolta's instructions. Could it be that, John was a wayward teen? Maybe he was part of a gang or something himself. Maybe he was one of the, not one of the Miami Ninjas, of course, because, Yoshito wouldn't count. I don't think he takes in ragamuffins. I think he's like...
Oh, no. Only the best. The ragamuffins go to Jeff.
Yeah. So it could be that, maybe, maybe that was part of Jeff's insane hatred of him. Was that he recognized John? I was like, that kid used to be part of the gang, right? 8 or 9 years ago.
More headcanon stuff.
Yeah. And then he's just like, okay. And he's like a violent little git, and he used to stab people all the time, twist things into them all the time and stuff.
This was his infamous move.
Yeah, that's what he always do. He'd kick you in the water, and then when you couldn't be seen anymore, he'd stab you in the chest and twist it.
John the Ripper, they called him.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Well, actually, Jack is another name for John in Victorian times.
Oh, beautiful. So then that would
I know that sounds insane, but it's true.
But then, of course, John gets away from that, and he meets Mark, and then Mark turns him into an upright, citizen. Part of his upright citizens brigade, if you will.
Yeah, one could call it.
Yeah, that's a good name. Someone should take that and use it for something.
I think that should be our new production company name. Let's change it. We're not Sleepy Charlie Media. We are the Upright Citizens Brigade.
I can't foresee any problems with trying to copyright that name.
Not at all.
So years go by, and John says he's clean cut guy. He's out there and he's learning how to harness his anger, etc., etc. Meets Jane, probably doesn't know that she's Jeff's sister.
Yeah.
And then Jeff sees him and is like, what the hell? Could be
that's why.
Could be even. Here's another pushing things even further. Okay. Could be that back then. They used to call him Gorgeous Jeff. It used to be GG because he's obviously Jeff with a G rather than a J. So Gorgeous Jeff never had a beard until the day John left the gang. Jeff wouldn't let him leave, and then he switchbladed him in the face and did a little twistaroo, and then he had to grow the beard to cover it. And that's why he hates John so much when he sees him. He's like, I wouldn't, when he was bleeding to death with his face slashed open, he's like, get out of here. You're no family to us anymore. You're not even a friend. And then, years down the line, for his sister to be like, oh, he's just a friend. He's like, what? And, that is, jot that down for the novelization. This late in the day, this, of course, would be the ideal chapter to introduce all this backstory.
I am 1000% into that, genuinely. That could add another exciting twist to things. Again, as we've said, not that the movie needs to be any better. It's already a 10 out of 10. But if you're delving in, you can add these things.
Yeah. I just really want to do it now just for the purposes of, say the book ends up 200 pages long. It just on page 160. By the way, here's 10 pages of backstory to John and Jeff that we should have mentioned. Probably back in page 15 or something.
And it's all incredibly important.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to say. And people are still like, why were there all these chapters about characters who aren't even in the film and stuff? They're not even part of the story.
Because that's art, baby. That's how you write a book. You need to have random chapters following random characters every now and then.
So we throw in that's 2 pages of information about John and Jeff's backstory following a 60-page chapter about one of the ninjas who just got killed there prior to the...
Yeah, and following him from birth till death.
Of course, yeah.
You have to go through school years and everything.
So you're going over to so we're in Korea now. We're going to meet Jim's dad in this scene, maybe. They cross paths. We're going to meet Mark. Nope.
Yeah.
It just keeps on rolling on past. Unrelated thing. Talks about all his time working for Pepsi and, how he didn't like climbing up the corporate ladder anymore and he just wanted a simple life as a ninja. But he was addicted to the Miami lifestyle. So he did a quick check to see if there was any Miami-based ninjas, and lo and behold, there was. So there you go.
Oh, God.
But anyway, so this guy's dead, or presumably is very, very dead under the water. And the Vince with Hirsch here, really doing. I have to say though, like we poured one out for Jim's suit in previous minutes.
Oh yeah,
because everyone and Jim's suit, not Jim, John's suit in particular. Whoa, like. This must have been like the thing he wore to like prom or something, and it's like, all right, I guess this one can go. Like,
I like it though. I think he has a good style in this movie. Something I've never really picked up on before. Because on a lot of people that would look weird.
Yeah.
I think, but in my eyes, it goes well with his frame. He suits these baggy kind of jackets, loose and not well shaped.
Yeah.
Well, that's mean. I don't mean not well shaped, not structured. Let's say.
I just like the idea now, though. Like YK came to come to them, going like, "Bring in suits you don't need anymore because they're going to get wrecked." And Vincent Hurst did show up in his prom outfit, and he had like a pink ruffled shirt and a bow tie and like a tan velvet, crushed velvet thing with like frilly blue like trim and all because he went to prom in 1977 and stuff.
Oh, he would suit that as well. Holy shit!
And just inexplicably in this scene, he's like, "Yeah, that's the way John dresses." He does in this scene anyway.
Well, it wouldn't be that out of character, really. I could accept it.
Yeah. But because again, in terms of actually the logistics of filming, though, because these suits go through the ringer, like, all Mark's attire, right enough, could survive all this. Like, jeans, leather waistcoat, you can do whatever that, and they'll survive. But, like, both Jim and John going in with the Sunday best, and not for the best, because it's gonna, we'll get to it in a moment, but, like, John's in particular gets a bad run. And so I guess they would make sure you get all that stuff shot and like completed because there's no reshoots for this. Not with the, and then they'll be like, well, just hire yourself like a continuity guy, and then they can keep track and you can get a bunch of suits. And they're like, continuity? Like what?
What are you talking about?
There's people on films who keep track of continuity. Like, why just do it in your head? Like everyone can do that. Why would you need someone like that?
Oh, of course. Talking about a stabbing, take a drink.
Oh,
Stabbing's one of the things.
Yeah.
Lovely. And also, I mean, we get another amazing, that's going to sound obscene. I was going to say we get another great face shot. And
a lot of jittering.
Yeah.
It's like a dog, like with a going at it with like a chew toy, like a real.
Oh, the anger, the hatred. Yeah, it's like, and you feel it though. I know it's hamming it up. It's chewing the scenery, but in the best way. But then after that he gets up to immediately have a sword fight with the next ninja in line. Bring them on, one and all. They're just coming at him one after another, ninja fest. Except this guy, this is what I love. This guy quickly, he realizes, oh, hang on, this guy's nuts. And he starts to run away. That's how fucking raged John is. Like, the ninja knows he's a killer now.
Yeah. I have to say, though, it's good in terms of, like, I like the idea of this and stuff. And, like, the ninja running away from him. But it is inherently comical. Because they're in that stream. So this is a silent ninja showing up and being like, and taking off and then like booting it in his like soaked through khakis, just John like, full tilt, like arms and legs pumping. Like it's a full on Olympic event for him.
Well, you're not going to outrun him. He's so gangly. he can take like one step to your like 10.
He just has to reach out his arm and just grabs the guy by like the head. Just lifts him up.
It's like The Simpsons when there's that really tall guy in the car. The ninja's Nelson.
It's just like, this is the best orphanage I could afford.
The best suit I could afford.
Everyone must meet their father in a suit, even the very tall.
Exactly.
Yeah. Of course, then John's not the one in the suit. But anyway, let's not ruin the joke.
And we have established that the dad is the dad of all of them.
Yeah. That's probably why he was so angry with that ninja, was because like he was doing a proper Vader of just like, so you all have a father. Your feelings for him are strong. Perhaps if you can't be turned to the Miami Ninja.
Yes.
And he's just like, this guy I've never met before, never. Oh, but talking about screaming things though, I'm gonna have to defer to the subtitles on the Blu-ray, John, because like after his talking about the Guinness Book of World Records there earlier, after his what I would say is probably still the reigning champ for utterances of the word Jim in a minute of a film, where
can we get Guinness on the line?
We should, and then if we just say to them, can we ring YK Kim to tell him, just to see if he hangs up on us? Because now I don't even want so much to talk to him. I want him to hang up on us. Like that's part of, it's such a part of the legend. It's like, oh no,
we want to be part of the continuing legend.
I mean, something like this. His third lease of life is like, so he had his initial success. Then he had the revival of Miami Connection. And then his third go-around is like, he won the Guinness World Records for the amount of times he said Jim in 1 minute of a movie.
Clearly the third go-round is, there was a very famous podcast that brought the movie back into the public eye, and then he got the world record.
Of course. But I'd say he probably does, though, because, like, it's not it's a common name, but you don't say Jim all that often in a minute of a film, do you?
But Guinness are dead strange about what they allowed to be considered a world record. There's very specific criteria. Like, if we just went to them with this random, I don't know, most episodes of a Miami-based podcast, they'd be like, no, that doesn't count.
But like most episodes of a Neil Breen-based podcast, they're like, I mean, the danger to your own mentalness would be like considerable. So yes, that would be a challenge that we would accept.
You're tempting me again.
But anyhow, so Mark is he's finished grieving for Jim, and the time has come to laugh again once more. But no, Mark, he's getting back to business. Like, enough time. I guess maybe not so much enough time has passed. It's more just like, these guys are going to keep coming, so I better start taking care of things. And he leaves Jim, who isn't dead, we should say. Like, he's visibly still breathing there when he goes.
Yeah, I like that. It's nice and sort of subtle, isn't it? You've got to be watching, otherwise you might think he's died. But that's not why he's leaving him. He's not leaving him out of cowardice either.
No, God, no. Jeez Louise, you imagine that? You imagine if John saw that? It's like Mark running away from a fight. How that would destroy him in that minute.
He could misconstrue it, but we, the viewer, know he's not running away. He's sort of leading a ninja away from Jim so he can fight the ninja like safely. Safely for Jim.
But what does he say as he gets up? Because he just kind of goes like, it sounds it's not just like a random bellow. He's definitely saying something. But
I had the exact same thought, so I went and put the subtitles on. Doesn't subtitle it.
Come on.
How dare they? I bet that the people doing the subtitling, the whole movie was done, the commentary was done, everything. They probably sat down to do that last, and they were like, I don't know what the fuck he's saying. Do you want to get him on the line? Like, nah, don't bother. Just don't put anything. No one will ask.
I think, but that's devastating. You at least would put like, guttural scream or like, parentheses anguished bellow. There's something. You have to put something in there because like
nothing.
Okay, I guess important. Like it's an important moment. Like John going crazy is an important moment there. And then, if the hearing impaired are watching this, they're not going to get that. Like, Mark in this moment is like, he's so all business that he's going out there going like, like, he's not hiding. He's like, I'll come, here I am, But maybe that's what he says. We don't know. We'll never know now, apparently.
Could be. We'd have to. That can be how we get hold of YK Kim. We're like, look, I know everyone's asked you all the obvious questions. We've got this one. And he'd be like, I have no idea. I don't remember.
Was last week we were talking about the thing we have to ask Kevin Smith when he comes to Liverpool, and I was like, make sure to remember that thing we have to ask him. Now I don't remember what it was.
No, we'll have to listen back to the episode.
Write in the comment section to remind us what that was supposed to be. But yeah, so I guess, for a second, it sounded like to me almost like he was saying traitors or something, but then that would make no sense.
Well, it doesn't make too much sense, some people say in The Force Awakens.
No, yeah.
I think it does. I dispute that. But a lot of people say it doesn't make any sense.
I think I never bumped into that. I was just like, yeah, this stormtrooper knows him. He knows he betrayed the cause, so yeah, he's a traitor.
Exactly, because you're not a fucking idiot.
But then, unless there is a lengthy backstory between Mark and the Miami Ninja, this doesn't make any sense.
Well, again, now it's perfect. There's so many hints that there's connections between things. Miami connections.
Yeah.
That's why it's called that. And the studio butchered it. It was 5 hours long in the original cut.
It was like Once Upon a Time in America or something.
It was a masterpiece, a lost masterpiece. It was going to win all the Oscars.
I've been thinking that people go like, why would the budget? Where would all that money go? Like, and he's just like, there's 5 hours of missing footage. What are you talking about? Like, you didn't see the train crash and stuff we put into it. It was incredible.
Release the Kim cut.
Yeah, totally. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Listeners, I'm sure you're aware, but I am joking. I don't want you to get excited and start messaging him. This doesn't exist as far as I'm aware.
But maybe YK Kim also has a secret hidden talent, much like what do you call that? The guy has a name, but the Micro Machines guy. You remember back in the 80s?
Oh shit, yeah.
The guy who was like I think he actually was the Guinness World Record guy for like the fastest talker in the world or whatever.
Oh, what was his name?
I'm sure if you just Google
John Mosquita Jr. or Mosquita? I don't know.
So thinking that, no, it was John something, but then I was like, all right, John's gone. And then when you started going like Miss it was as if you were just looking around the table like, yeah, John, micro air freshener.
No, it's like, yeah, Mosquita. I'm going to say he's known Motor Mouth John Mosquita, also known as Fast Talking Guy. That's a really great name, nice and imaginative.
I think I always had a little bit of contempt for him because he was a rival, I think, to George Cunningham, who was my grandmother's neighbor.
Oh, so you have to hate him.
And he was, George Cunningham was like at one point, he must have been like the fastest talker, definitely the fastest talker in Ireland, probably all of Europe, I'd imagine. But he was more of a kind of like random, mid-90s clip show where they show you this amusing, footage of like a guy in an interview in the 1960s. And it was George Cunningham. Hey, just come in, somebody go. And you just see like the reporter been like, what? Like the whole of it. Whereas, John Mosquito, he managed to parlay his way into like a whole fortune by being the Micro Machines guy and stuff.
Yeah, and when you look, he's actually been in a lot of stuff. He's in Transformers. He plays 3 Transformers.
He plays Transformers in it. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Punch, Blur, and Blowpipe. I don't remember any of them.
I can imagine what Blur's thing is. He's probably very fast.
Probably.
And he speaks like a blur or something. Yeah.
all of his roles tend to be stuff like that. Like he's in Garfield playing Supersonic Seymour.
Yeah.
There's a connection here. There's a thing. But then in Robot Chicken, he plays Elrond.
Oh, but maybe they have a joke about Elrond being the Micro Machines guy or something. Where
I guess
he goes on and explains the entire plan of like going to Mordor and stuff, but he speaks so quickly that everyone's like, "What? You go back over that again?" Frodo just signed up for this thing, going, "Yeah, it sounded good, whatever he said." And they're like, "I have to walk all the way there." No.
What else? He plays a character called Myron Chase. In something, there's a theme.
Yeah,
I suppose one of the only ones is Pinky and the Brain. He plays someone called Kurt Sackett.
I mean, again, would not surprise me. Pinky and the Brain meeting a guy who speaks incredibly fast, and then just being the joke, of the whole.
Well, I mean, yeah, he plays an auctioneer in something.
There you
Yeah,
go. Yeah, they're all coming together. They're all coming together. But he managed to go off and make a whole life out of George Cunningham. Just still had to like live next door to my grandmother, which is not a bad life. But like, you know, he wasn't famous except, you know, the small amount of people who, and most of them are people our age who vaguely remember a clip from Dennis Norton back in 1998.
Yeah.
And I have to be like, oh yeah, that guy like lived next to my grandmother and stuff. But
Well, you'll be happy to hear this bit then of trivia. Mosquito has been credited, you know, as the world's fastest talker, with the ability to articulate 586 words per minute.
whew.
His record was broken in 1990 by Steve Woodmore, who spoke 637 words a minute, and then broken by Sean Shannon, who spoke 655 words per minute in 1995. However, Mosquito questions the legitimacy of those. Of course he fucking does.
Is this just like a King of Kong scenario now or whatever?
Yeah.
He's back at top as well, isn't he, Billy Mitchell? He somehow reclaimed his scores, and this is like, it just goes on and on. I'm sure next year he'll lose them again.
Yeah, I can't keep up with where that's going as well, because surely he's been banned. Wasn't he actually caught cheating?
Yeah, oh, 100%. There's no way you can, like, I don't think you even need to see the film. You just need to look at him. And be like, oh, clearly he's
like
a cheater.
He's a shyster, isn't he? He's like a little schemy little snake.
Yeah. But you know, sad George Cunningham didn't get a mention there. But Sean Shannon sounds so Irish.
That's the most Irish name I've ever heard in my life.
Maybe that might be the thing though, because Irish people tend to speak very fast, and when they do, they don't articulate all that well. So it could be that like that's why the Micro Machines guy is like, I have to question the legitimacy of the articulation going on there because I couldn't make out a goddamn word he said. But
don't question him. Don't question him.
But it could be that's what Mark's doing here. He's coming out with a whole speech about like only through the elimination of violence can we achieve world peace, and you've killed my one and only son. Only through the elimination of I can achieve world peace. Boy, do you want to see my new chainsaw? Oh my God.
Suck on that, Sean Shannon. Bring it on. 23 seconds to read a speech from Hamlet. Fuck you.
But anyway, Mark goes off then and perhaps recites all of Hamlet. You never know. He's like, it's one thing. It's part of my. It gets him into the YK Kim Taekwondo zone. This is how
the Do Zone.
Yeah, the Do Zone. So you just need to know some actors do have to get into like now is the time to center, and there was a whole thing actually in the screenplay for Batman '89. Where there was a sequence where like you saw Bruce Wayne getting ready, and he has to go and like meditate to like become Batman. He has to put himself into like a whole other personality and stuff in order to do it, which is one of those sort of we had a whole conversation about it because it'd be quite contentious with the fans these days putting out something like that. But could be that that's how Mark does it. He's just like, now is the winter of our discontent. There he is. now he's in form.
He is. He's so on form. He straight up just goddamn murders someone.
Yeah. I also feel this is very. There's a lot of precautions been taken here in the fact that they're fighting on the side of this hill.
Yeah.
And it looks like it would be a steep fall. So I'm thinking that's why the guy has to like collapse next to these two trees that are kind of intertwined a little bit, as if he's like clinging onto those for dear life. Because if the soil crumbles and you go down there, it's gonna be ugly.
And also, I think it's another good way, like the water, of kind of disguising the killing blow, so they don't have to bother to use like squibs and stuff.
That's true. And there's another one that's actually really ingenious coming up later in a minute too. When I saw it, I was like, that's actually like if they did that intentionally, that's a really good idea. But Mark's kill, it's good. But it's also like, it's again a little bit silly in that you can't help but notice that these ninjas are like exceptionally silent.
Oh yeah, they don't even scream like in agony as they're dying.
Yeah, well, the fact that we got to get a close up of this guy's face, or like not his face, but where his face is. We just got his ninja shroud and then his nose poking out. But the fact that he just kind of, his head just kind of goes up like silently, like he's Jason or something, you know? And it's like directly into the camera. But you think he would be coming out like a so stab in the back, like it's gonna be horrible. But
yeah, but maybe this guy, he dies like a man.
It could be.
They've like, been taught by Yoshito. You know, you don't show pain or fear. You just die.
It could be like is taught by Yoshito, or is this like some weird Yoshito punishment where like he removed their vocal cords or something? Or it could be like any. It could be like one of those things. It's like this is how you achieve. This is how you get into his elite squad.
Well, because then they can't talk.
Then they can't.
They can't reveal anything.
They can't reveal anything. That's true. Also, makes them extra stealthy as ninjas. So it means that you're going to, and if you're willing to do it, you might be like, well, you're willing to go the full way then. Of just even been so ninja, you don't have a face anymore. You don't have a voice. You're just now my crew, and that's only for the best of the best of the best. But it also could just be down to a thing we of course learned during Batman and Robin, when people unfamiliar with the show might recall a scene in that wherein Mr. Freeze is making his goons sing "I'm Mr. White Christmas, I'm Mr. Snow," and if you look, you notice that those extras aren't singing; they're miming. No. And they're just like this unrelated audio over the top of them.
Completely unconnected.
And as we discovered, that was because to save money. Because if they had to sing, they wouldn't be just extras anymore. They would be like billed parts. And you would have to pay them more because they're like performing. They're audibly speaking on camera. That means they're a role in the film. But if you have them just mime like they're saying something, they're just extras, and you can pay them like a fraction of the price. So could be YK Kim cutting corners here, where he's just like, don't say anything. Like the ninjas, don't show your faces, and also just go like, instead of screaming, just go.
Perfect. That saves me loads of money.
He meant to put some aside, some cash for the ninja screaming at the end, but times are tough back in '86.
We had to spend it on more sleeveless shirts. So.
Oh, just suits for this damn scene.
Because they had to reshoot the scene. Like, oh, God, now we have to buy all the suits again. We've trashed them. We've trashed a lot of them. Oh, God damn it.
Going into the same thrift store and like, do you have any more of those suits? It's like, no. Like, we only got like one donated. What are you talking about? Like,
I'll take anything you got. We're talking about him killing the guy as well. Steals his own sword off him as well, actually. But it's another stabbing, isn't it? Another drink.
Yeah.
You might have another couple coming up, listeners. But in fact, you're gonna get one. You're gonna get one right away. But first, when Mark stabbed the guy, I love his reaction. Because obviously we've seen a similar reaction from John just a minute ago. But I like the way this is shot, Mark's one, where, there's just the music. It's all silent other than the music. Because I thought that added an interesting kind of... It mixed it up. Because, we've seen people go, like 50 times already now.
Yeah.
So you've got to be a bit more interesting and artistic and think outside the box a little bit. And I appreciate... I see that YK Kim is doing that. He's like, no, hang on, let's be a bit more creative.
It starts like fading into the silence, and then a piano-led version of the Blackadder theme begins to play over the top. Then one's like, it's the greatest ending to a film of all time.
Oh, no, you can put that music over anything, and I'll get sad.
But then. I said, no, it is all... I'm going to actually pay a genuine compliment to the filmmaking here in the next bit, though, because we have, of course, the ninja scrambling to get away from John. Properly, like, falling over himself at one point, too. You can see, like, he really realizes, like, oh, man, I'm in... This guy is going to kill me. Like, there's no way around this one. But as he goes up, he turns around for a split second. John does slash him, but just as he's slashing him, there's a spray of water onto the camera lens. So again, you don't have to like hide the slash in terms of like, well, he's not actually slashing the guy in the chest. But it really, really looks like he did. But we can't see it because it actually was hidden behind the splash. And
genius.
Yeah, it's one of those things of like, if that was an accident, that was a very, very happy accident. And if it was done deliberately, that's a real, like, that's like proper Hollywood filmmaking right there. That's how you do things. That's how, like, you know, they would have shot, like, you know, Enter the Dragon or something with that kind of ingenuity.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. And I'm not dissing these guys, because you know I love them, everybody. You know I do. But it feels like something that might be beyond their ability. You know what I mean? Like, because it's harder to pull off than you think. And a professional film crew, yeah, okay, I could imagine it. But these guys aren't. Admittedly, they're not.
Yeah. Unless this was the one shot, like, in the final fight that the original director did.
Yeah.
Or it could be that, like, he told YK Kim about this cool thing they did back in the day, and he's like, that's how you hide it. You know, obviously it doesn't sound like this, but I'm imagining him, all directors of Parting Wisdom have to sound like, you know, wizened 50-year-old men with cigars in their mouths going, that's how you do it, kid.
That's how I picture them all.
But as you go down, you slash, splash. A slash and splash is what we used to call it back in the day. But, you know, back in the day, people have done it with, like, the blood would go over the camera or something like that. You know, that kind of thing. But also, I can imagine YK Kim taking that in stride and be like, that's what we're going to do, a slash and splash. It's this great idea, I've been told. And then went in and did it, and then realized that the water would break the camera. So it was like the last minute. So then that's why he had to, like, all right, so the ninja screaming money for the extras.
All gone.
You gotta. That's another like $2,000 to rent another camera for a couple of days.
Yeah, ninja screams, that cut.
Yep. I like those ninja screams. That's why it was so hard to cut them.
I heard they were the greatest screams in cinema history.
And then all the extras are just like, can't help but notice that you kept your own guttural scream that no one can make out you're saying. And
that's vital to the plot. Vital.
If I don't get that scream out, how is anyone going to know what's going on?
Exactly.
I summarized the entire plot in that moment. That's the linchpin of the whole movie, is what I say in that scream. The movie won't make sense without.
You mentioned, of course, John slashing that guy. The thing that gets me, and maybe I'm just weird, I don't know, I find it really funny because it's the guy he's been chasing. He's still chasing him. He's just like, ah!
Yeah. He is set. I mean, we don't know how long the stream is, so that chase could have been on, like, they literally just turned a corner. Or it could be like, no, it's been like 20 minutes of just running around the stream in a circle, basically.
I could buy that, because, I mean, I'm scared of John's mighty poker.
That's why, like, the ninja that gets John is just like, wait here 2 minutes, he'll be back around.
Well, you know what? You've just mentioned that there. So before we delve into it, right, have 2 drinks, because there's the slashing and you're about to get another slashing. I'll just have the one. No, but you mentioned that there, the guy who gets John. Because, you know, we see a ninja leaping off the embankment, slashes John.
Yeah.
This is a goddamn bloodbath. His back's torn to ribbons. It's quite, like, it's quite brutal, and it makes you a little bit worried as well of, like, because at this point you assume, well, Jim's probably dead.
Yeah.
So now you're thinking, is John going to be dead as well?
Yeah. I mean,
like, I know we've seen it that many times, but you know he's fine. But
I think that's a good point. Like, it's escalating things to the point of, like, we've seen one of these guys these guys who seemed undefeatable. Like, they were just like, Dragon Salmon totally fine. Look, they handed everybody their asses all the time. You know, Mark's there to protect them. What can go wrong? And then to see, like, one of them killed, the most likable one killed. And then one who's like, oh, no, you know, John's taking things into, oh, my God. Like, if he's not dead, that's an injury that's going to, like, you know, set you back a bit. That's the same injury that happened to Finn in the Force Awakens. Again, bringing up that thing. We always, every episode, I feel like we bring up one thing, like one pop culture thing, and then we just keep circling back to it somehow by sheer coincidence every time.
And it is a complete coincidence, people. It's an accident. We're not doing it deliberately. We haven't pre-planned a bit.
Yeah. But as I remember in the cinema watching The Force Awakens, and seeing Kylo Ren just, like, slashing up Finn's back with a lightsaber and been like, whoa, jeez, that's nasty. And then watching this, it's very effective. It goes down, it gets him unawares. and then seeing the look, the roar paint on that's out, and it's a very good, makeup job they do on his back.
Oh yeah, this is why I think you haven't seen too much in the other stuff. It lends like extra power to this, but also they've probably spent a lot of time and money on this.
Think they spent more on the suit or more on the effect underneath the torn up suit? Like,
I would hope the latter. But then again, I don't know. Suits aren't cheap.
Yeah, that's the thing. Though. Is it a thrift store suit, or is it just like, this is my Armani suit, man? I was hoping to get married in this.
It's gotta be a thrift. Then again, they're not. As we said, they're not seasoned filmmakers. They might not have thought about that. They might have just gone and bought a nice suit. Whereas logic would say, just go down to the second-hand shop and get a thrift store thing. It's fine. We're going to rip it up.
Yeah. Or go to like the big and tall or whatever and be like, that there's a rack. There's like 5 of them. Go get all of them. And then they're like, well, Grandmaster Kim, those suits are like $200 a pop.
I said get 5 of them.
He's like, why, do you think I'm poor? And then he's just like, looks at his budget like, oh, Christ.
Yeah, he's like Tommy Wiseau, a proper Hollywood movie.
Yeah, or Neil Breen, of course.
So, yeah, we get that amazing shot we mentioned.
Not just the fact that the suit, again, cut open, but even, like, look at the little vents and everything on the side. Like, that jacket is totaled. Like, it's kind of got, like, it's... And this is before Die Hard, right? It's the same principle of Die Hard, though, of watching Bruce Willis's vest. Starts off nice, crisp, white, clean vest, and ends up, like... dark green, torn to shreds and stuff.
It looks like a totally different piece of clothing.
Yeah. So this would be like, professional movies would be like, they would have, various jackets with various degrees of damage. So they could just go around. But this was probably just like all shot in one day. And then they just had to have, Vincent Hirsch going around soaked up to his ass and beyond. Soaked to his eyeballs in stinky friggin' stream water. And then it's like wearing tattered clothing. I mean, like, Hollywood, baby, here we come.
It is interesting that you can see 2 holes because he clearly got slashed once, right? So do you think the other hole that's cut in there is from a previous take?
Let's see, which second hole are you...
Look at second 52.
Yeah, that's what I've got to pause on second 52 right now.
There you go, because there's the slash up his back, and then there's that other hole on the right.
There's a little hole, though. That almost looks like that was like a... It looks like it was made like by like a knife or something.
Yeah.
But then there's the triangular one, which I think is like I think that's part of the venting of the jacket originally, maybe?
Even if it is, it's cut open.
Yeah. It probably is just a... Because I kept too much of the film and those normal takes in the jacket when it was in, quote unquote pristine condition. Then I guess maybe they'd have to have gone before shooting even started, done all the makeup on his back, and then someone came in and just like had to like slash the jacket to pieces and then put it back on. Yeah, I was like, now you go. But then every other take would be like, don't get too wet because like the makeup's on there.
And I reckon it was maybe in the wrong place. And they're like, oh, fuck. Because I've done that when I've made my own clothes. It looks fine till you put it on. And you go, oh, no.
That's the end. It's always little things. Like, I planned this out in my head. It's ingenious. How could anything go wrong? It's like, no, there's always some practical implication.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it could be that.
Yeah, I'm still showing you how Hollywood works with these things. Like, again, my mind's still blown from... In Batman 89, what is that bit? Joker. The Joker kills a guy with the electric hand buzzer, and he's wearing all the flesh-colored makeup. And then Jack Nicholson takes out a little hanky and starts wiping his forehead, and you can see all the white Joker makeup underneath. And like my entire life, and as we were going into the movie to cover it, I was like, oh, that's how you do. That's dead simple. That's just he just has a little thing of makeup in the thing, and he's just wiping it on his head. There you go. Ingenious, right? And then we researched the minute. It's like, no, that's not what they did. He's actually wearing multiple layers of makeup, and they've hidden the white makeup underneath the flesh-colored makeup through some kind of weird chemical concoction they made, because they're like, oh, that'd be better. And I was like, but there's such a simple way of getting to do that. And they're probably nuts. you'd think that would be simple, right? But no, it's not. The way we've done it's actually better. And you're like,
in a weird way, it probably was somehow. There'll be some reason why what you're thinking wouldn't work.
I'm sure, yeah, maybe they'll do a take of like Jack Nicholson, like the way he's applying the makeup doesn't look right. It looks like, oh, it's not as splotchy and stuff, and it just doesn't. You can tell he's just wiping makeup on his head. Whereas that version, it looks like, oh no, it just looks like, in the purposes of the scene, it looks like he's wiping off. His skin is bleached white, and he's now wiping off flesh-colored makeup.
Yeah,
but it was just mind-blowing to me that and I've heard people in other podcasts and stuff reference that scene where they're like, oh, that cool little trick they did with the, and I was like, no, getting on. It's like, no, they didn't do that.
You got it wrong, suckers.
It's like, I understand why you would think that, but no, they actually went the actual length for it. It was crazy.
Well, speaking of cool visuals, right? We, despite the pain, John gets his own back. A slash and then a stab to the gut. This guy's toast, and we get the best grimace yet as well.
I was going to try to make a Dave Benson Phillips reference there, but just by the mention of "Get Your Own Back."
What a classic show.
Before he delivers this death blow, Dave Benson Phillips just pops like, "John, it's time to get your own back." That's why he gets gunged in the face now in a second.
That's what it is. That's the gunge. It's not blood. It's gunge, baby.
Oh man, we have that reference has scared off the last non-UK listener.
Aw. I mean, first off, yet another drink. Have one.
Yeah.
Right. That's that done. And no, I love the grimacing through the killing, the blood, the gunge splattering all over his goddamn face. It's so intense.
That's how I find this shocking from you, John, because I know you were a person who continues to baffle me with your your takes on gore scenes. Because I recommend films to you that that's the things I think you've even since have watched and enjoyed. Like things like Hellraiser and stuff, I'll be like, oh yeah, but oh man, the gore and it's crazy and stuff. And you're like, no, I will never watch such a thing. And then you did.
I never say never. I always say I don't think I'll like
I recall you say spitting on its grave and saying not a chance would it ever grace your
I think there was something I did say that about.
Was it I spit in your grave, maybe?
It was that. No, I can't remember. There is something. There is definitely something I've said that about. I can't remember what it was. But
like the human centipede too, because that one's.
Oh, that might. Yeah, I definitely know.
That one's just it's just excessive for the sake of being excessive, But,
no, but
But no, because remember you always had this new thing, you kind of poo-pooed gore scenes, and then you'd go on about Machete. It's like, there's a bit where he rips a guy's intestines out of his body and uses it to swing into the window underneath the next floor. It's like,
there's
how
exceptions.
Is that? But how? That doesn't make any sense to me.
I think it's the tone, often. Not always, but often it's the tone. Machete felt like a video game. Fine. I like video games. I mean, like Mortal Kombat, that's gore.
Yeah.
But it's a video game. It's when it's tonally supposed to be something real. I don't like it usually. Not always. Granted, there are exceptions.
I mean, there's things like for example, I think most high profile massive gore scenes are supposed to be taken with an element of fun because people there are like, it's a good time. We're here to see blood and guts and stuff, and it's all crazy. And
I don't feel it most of the time. I don't know.
But so you got even things like, friggin' at the beginning of Nightmare on Elm Street, friggin' poor, what's her name? Tina getting ripped apart by Freddy. It's that's a pretty intense scene, but there's also just the ingenuity of seeing how they did it and stuff. And you're like, oh, this is really, it's horrible but cool and intense and stuff. And you can watch that and be like, oh yeah, it's great, yeah, I'm taking it in. And then it'll cut to in Misery. With James Caan and Kathy Bates, and her no blood, but her smashing his feet with a sledgehammer, and it's just the most oh god, it's the intensity of it so there, and he's selling it so much, and it's supposed to be this is pretty horrible, right? You're like, yes, it's goddamn unbearable.
See, it's the tone. It isn't the be all end all, but it's a big part of it for me.
The same time, though, I'll be like, oh, you gotta see Misery. You gotta see this one bit where she freaking hobbles him, man. It's crazy.
I actually, believe it or not, that's the only bit I have seen.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah, I've seen because it gets played everywhere. In fact, the first time I ever was aware of that scene was when French and Saunders did a parody of it.
But I mean, like parodying it's one thing, but like in the movie, you actually see like the foot twisting to the side and stuff.
Yeah,
you see the blow happen.
That's really pushing it to the. I don't think I like it.
Yeah.
That's why
that's again, it's all I think as a wise decision though, because it was a much like in the original book, it's like she cuts off his foot and then like cauterizes the wound with a blowtorch. There's a whole bit like Richard Farnsworth shows up in the movie, and his character in the book's like stabbed to death with a giant crucifix and stuff, and you're like, this is all very Stephen Kingy. I get why and then Rob Reiner made the movie. He's like, don't need that gory death right there. And you know what? I'm gonna replace your cutting off the foot thing with something that's not as long-term damaging, I guess, but also is actually kind of way worse to watch because it's like, oh, a guy got his foot cut off, I can take that. But like, a guy got his foot smashed, like his ankle smashed against a block of wood by a sledgehammer is like,
horrid. God, no. Well, but this is fine to me. Like the blood's fine. I think because like I don't want to see intestines and shit used unless it's machete.
Yeah. Or like all the big intestines thing. I think of you've seen Reanimator, right? Like the
no.
Oh, Reanimator's great.
Because I'm worried it'll be like that.
Oh no, Reanimator's all like that's fun gore. That's all like, isn't this crazy? That's just like. He's bringing all these dead bodies back to life, and just like it's just going ape, man. It's really way out there. But okay, actually now that spoilers for a bit of Reanimator, but like he keeps injecting the friggin' reanimation fluid into things, and at one point towards the end, he's already injected it into something that's come back to life, and he's just going for anything, so he just injects it again, and that causes the thing's intestines to come to life. And the intestines burst out of the body and like wrap themselves around his face and like start like trying to strangle him to death and stuff. And you're like, man, this movie is really crazy.
I don't know. Maybe there. I don't know. Ooh.
Oh, it's great. Love. I would actually do a Reanimator minute, like, because although now you have to go into a lot of H.P. Lovecraft stuff, and they have to be like, well, so renowned racist H.P. Lovecraft is here.
Yeah, let's not talk about that part. Yeah.
And plus a lot of stuff. I'm not actually as big a fan of Lovecraft's actual work either, so I feel I would be out of my depth doing. I could talk about 80s horror movies all day long, but then actually go into we'd need like a Kurt Dirt or someone here to be like, yeah, you know this. Ash would know about this stuff, But, like I know about it, but I don't like it. And I'm just sort of like, I'll just be reading the Wikipedia page.
He would know, yeah.
But this also reminded me a little bit of like, again, no, I think it predates it actually, right? Because RoboCop was 87. Yeah. And this is at the end blow for Clarence Boddicker, as I recall. Then there's like a. I've never seen like RoboCop stabs him in the neck, and then there's like a burst of blood on the RoboCop, right? As I recall.
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
And okay, now you grew up loving RoboCop. That's all freaking gore, man.
No. See, I didn't really like RoboCop till later.
No, okay.
I was too scared as a kid because of the scene where he dies at the start.
I mean, yeah.
To be honest, even now, right, I really like RoboCop, but RoboCop is really pushing it to the limit.
I think I was traumatized by the scene where he dies at the start, but that just instilled in me like I gotta see that again. Like,
no, see, I couldn't. I was like, no, didn't watch it for like 10 years plus.
Yeah, but every time you watch it, you're just like, oh, here we go. It's a pretty intense scene.
It's probably the most intense scene of the movie.
Yes, that of course. Melty McGee at the end, which is that's for the kid horrifying. Now you're like, oh yeah, this is good fun. Yeah, the guy, no, he had it coming. That guy, like,
I think that's part of it as well. If they have it coming, I'm more tolerant.
Yeah.
Because you go, well, whatever.
It's in comparison, like the leader of the gang, because that's a horrific death. They got like dunked in toxic waste, so your whole body mutates. And then do this to get run over by a car, and it's just like, yeah, that's like one of the worst deaths you can imagine. And then the actual guy who was the ringleader just gets like stabbed in the neck. Like, oh, come on, you deserve way worse than that.
There's no justice.
yeah. But I'm pretty sure like I've seen it like a million times. You think I would know frame by frame, but I'm pretty sure it's like Clarence Boddicker stabs RoboCop through the chest, and then RoboCop he's just like, sayonara, RoboCop, and then RoboCop takes out his little hand thorn. Like switchblade he's got hidden, like his USB stick in his hand. Stabs Bollock in the neck. I'm pretty sure then he does very similar shot to this. You just see from off camera like a big splatter just landing on Peter Weller's face. But also, it reminded me of Quint, because he's stabbing him in the chest, and then we get this like random spew of blood onto John's face.
Oh yeah, it's it's a lot.
You think it's coming from the chest wound, or is it like like in Jaws when Quint gets bitten, and then just blood starts spewing out of his mouth? Is this like the guy's actually spat the blood at John because he's got him in the chest, and then it's just like, there's a...
Oh, that's quite cool. I don't know. I thought it's from the chest, because I did look up briefly how blood spurts. Like how does it do that? And I got to. I mean, there were some proper scientific articles, but I'm not going to bore everyone by just reading that. But I found 2 good comments on Reddit. From like people who work in medical fields, and God, this name, Jesus, White Man 90909 says that
if you have to put your handle down as White Man, it's like we're already starting off on the wrong foot here.
I know, but luckily it doesn't go anywhere bad. He says your systolic, I don't know what that is, blood pressure, which causes the squirt from an arterial bleed, is. This I actually would be more in favour of what you're saying, is higher the more distance you are from the heart. So you would theoretically squirt more from your pedal artery in your foot than your femoral in your groin. So if it's the chest, you've probably you're less likely to squirt. So maybe he spits it. But I found that quite interesting. I'd never considered that before.
You poke in the chest, less likely to squirt. Just now we know.
Wise words. And then Osmedic80, because he is Australian, said that blood shooting out of the body indicates an arterial bleed, much like the guy said, which would also be bright red oxygenated blood. This isn't.
No. This almost looks like it's got like bits in it. Like it looks viscous. Like it's actually, it's like it's proper gore. Like it doesn't look like, it's just liquid. It's like, no, that's like gunk. Like
chunky blood.
Chunky blood. It is gunge. It's like, it's not Get Your Own Back on CBBC, but it is kind of like its own version of it.
Well, apparently if it does squirt, that is because it's, blood pressure exists in the arterial part of the circulation system. So it's a result of the pump of the heart exerting pressure on the artery walls. But the squirt intends to be quite quick. It says blood pressure rises a momentary before a rapid drop. So it'll go up. So even if it is a squirt, even though evidence seems to think maybe not, it wouldn't continue like in some movies where it just keeps going. Then again, I'm sure there are occasions that could happen, but we're generalizing.
Yeah. That's this is imagine the eternal mystery of that in the Addams Family. When Wednesday and Pugsley are doing that that school play, and then they're like,
oh yeah,
and again, man, maybe that's the entire point. Is like watching as a kid, I was like, so are they actually chopping off their limbs and stuff? And they're just like, the Addams Family are weird and immortal. And I think we even talked about on our Patreon coverage of the Wednesday show. That mystery still stands, because we're just like, so were they actually bleeding? Like, were they actually spraying their own blood everywhere? Or was that effects that the Addams Family themselves had put into the show? And
I mean, really, it should be they're actually doing it, but then that would also be quite horrific to think about.
No, that's what I'm in favor of. I'm just like, yep, there should be. They are literally chopping off each other's limbs. Because again, multiple times you see Wednesday and Pugsley kill each other.
Well, that's the thing. You assume that they just sort of regenerate or something when they wake up.
Yeah, which again makes the show more infuriating when like Wednesday's all pissed off that her dad might have killed somebody, and you're like, but you killed your brother like 12 times this morning. What are you talking about?
That's different. He comes back.
Yeah. But do you think there was a little maneuver that John should have done? He didn't twist the sword this time. Maybe that's why he gets splattered in the face. That's what he remembers from his old days. Is like, oh, once you twist the knife in there, or the sword, that stops any splatter from coming out on you. And this time now, that reason he's going like, oh, I was like, God damn it, I forgot. Oh. And at this point, he's just like, I mean, the suit's ruined anyway. So,
fuck it, let's go all out, baby.
the real anguish here isn't so much for Jim as like this was a rental, and I was hoping to take it back after we met Jim's dad. But, oh, that's $60 down the drain right there, I'll tell you.
Oh, they haven't got 60 to waste.
Yeah. I mean, that's why Mark's so like, Jim, no, maybe we can save the shirt. It's like, no.
He takes it back to the shop to get a refund.
Like, well, what's all this all over it? Is this swamp water?
No. It was like that when I bought it.
Is this blood? The swamp water nearly washed it out. What do you want? You said it wasn't swamp water. All right, you got me.
That actually ties in, right? I might as well bring it up right now. The commentary track. Because apparently, this was actual swamp water.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and it was just disgusting. They said, oh, it's filthy. It was filthy. It was horrid. They did not like it.
Yeah. I was, no, I think I joked about it in previous episodes. I am certain that someone in the cast or crew, or both, got sick after filming this. Like... There was definitely some sort of rash or some sort of UTI. Something happened in that water. You don't get out of that scot-free,
Oh my god.
Yeah. I know it also makes me think too of I was always thought that was very just a weird, awkward. I guess it just depends on your own level of confidence, really. But film I very much love, Mr. Roosevelt.
Okay, I haven't seen that.
Indie movie from a couple of years ago, written, directed, and starring Neil Breen. There's an actress called Noelle Wells. She used to be on Saturday Night Live, and then got fired after one season. Which is like another. Usually, when that happens, it's like a Tim Robinson, and it's like, oh, that just means that they're talented then.
So you'll check them out.
Yeah, if you got fired from Saturday Night Live, after one season or after any amount of seasons, it probably means that you're too good for Saturday Night Live, quite frankly. And yeah, she did a movie, and it's about lady or cat dies, and it's a comedy drama, etc., etc. But there's a scene where like her and a bunch of her friends are out hanging by a creek, and they all strip off like naked and jump in the creek and stuff. And there's a whole big montage of them playing and drinking beer and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, that was a nice scene. But seeing though Noelle Wells on Instagram posting behind the scenes thing, it's like the camera people in there and her, completely Billy Box, as Partridge would say, like just in the net,
perfect choice.
Just over by the camera people, just looking in the viewfinder, like, yep, this is how I want this scene shot because she's the director. You're like, oh, I would have thought like the director would want like clothes on when she was doing that. But I don't know, maybe it was like an all female crew, and she's just like, well, what do I care, But I mean, there's men in the scene as well. But yeah, I just always remember that stuck with me. It's like, I never thought I would see a naked director like in action. But Noelle Wells, maybe she should bring up the Guinness Book of World Records. People will be like, I think I'm the only one who did it, right? It was,
well, I want to hear stories. Did YK Kim get nude?
Just for like he'd put on his costume every time he was in shot, and then whatnot.
Yeah, just whip it all off again. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, it's too hot behind the camera. You don't understand.
And then the next day they were shooting like some stuff in the house, and he showed up naked again. Like, I thought that was just for the swamp stuff.
It's strictly a comfort thing.
It's like, at least, I don't know, drape a towel over your shoulder or something, man.
You don't understand the creative process.
Maybe that's why Jim was dressed that way. They all had to convince YK's like, no, we all, we can convince him to put on some jeans, maybe leave the fly down. We don't want to push him too far, too fast. And then get a towel draped over his shoulder. Okay, now we're making progress. But yeah, like with that, with John getting his own back, that's my notes for this particular minute.
Same here. Should we break the connection?
I believe we should.
Let us do it. Yeah, just do the usual, people. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Find us. All of them. Can't be bothered. Leave us a review wherever the hell you want. And check out our other shows. The other shows by Sleepy Charlie Media. Yeah, can't be bothered today. You all know by now. You've been with me for 76 minutes. You've been with this madness for about 100 hours. I don't know what we're at.
Oh, but probably more at this point.
Probably more. Probably. Jesus. Stick with us, because I hope you've been enjoying it so far. We have been, and we're going to enjoy next week, even if more people get slaughtered and die and have their guts explode all over people's faces. We will be back with minute 77 of Miami Minutes. Splat!
I was going to try to do his yell, but I was like, I don't know.
If it's a load, please.
Listen to me.